Bride is honestly one of my all-time favorite Ellie Hazelwood books. She did such a wonderful job with a romantasy book that I'm just like, oh my goodness, there's more now, and that's where Mate comes in. And so if you really enjoyed Bride by Ellie Hazelwood, go ahead and subscribe, because we are the people. We are the people. So from my understanding, Mate kind of takes place in the events probably, I don't know, maybe a day or a week or a month or so after Bride. I remember Bride ended on kind of an interesting note where it mentions the character Serena, who is the main character of this book. So Serena is basically the only human werewolf hybrid that exists, and so she ends up kind of, I don't know, that gets kind of exposed, and that kind of becomes like a threat, because people are like, oh, like, she shouldn't exist. What is this monstrosity? And she's also apparently the mate of this alpha werewolf, but she's not really interested in him. I'm pretty sure he's tried to like court her multiple times, and she's like, no thanks, man. But seems like now that everybody knows her secret is out, now she's threatened. And with this kind of mate bond that the alpha has, he wants to protect her at all costs, but she doesn't have the same feelings that he does for her, so it's like kind of awkward. But I assume that she's probably gonna be like, okay, yeah, like, you'll protect me, and then maybe that maiden bond will kind of, you know, do some stuff. And that's pretty much all I know. Honestly, you can just put Ellie Hazelwood's name on anything, and I'll probably read it. But especially if it involves vampires and werewolves, like, come on, this is so good. And Bride was so good. I also learned a lot about Nodden, which I had no idea what that was, and I had to Google it after I read that book. I imagine that's probably in this book too. Ellie Hazelwood's very good with putting very specific like kinks in her book, and it kind of makes me learn new things, which is nice. Not always my kind of thing, but I really like that she puts different forms of expression throughout her books, because I'm sure they resonate with somebody. So I think that that's really cool, and I think it makes her stand out even more as a romance writer. So yeah, without further ado, we've been waiting for this book forever, so let's go ahead and crack it right open. So I am a little bit more than 100 pages into Mate, and here are my thoughts so far. Ellie Hazelwood does it again so far, it seems. So this is definitely a sequel. At first I wasn't sure if like it was one of those kind of like series where it's like it doesn't really matter the order. It does. The order matters very, very much for this book. And it's such a good time. Ellie Hazelwood, like the amount of books that she has released this year and like the quality of them is amazing. And so it's been a while since I read Bride. I think it had to be over a year ago at this point. And so I'm starting to remember what happened and who Serena, our main character, is. So slight spoilers for Bride incoming. In Bride, Misery has been looking for Serena. I completely forgot this part. And like that's why she agreed to go into Were territory and like, you know, continue with that kind of marriage, like the arranged marriage kind of stuff. And so then we find out like later on in that book that Serena is a hybrid Were, and so she's able to shift. And so now we're really getting more about who she is, her bits and pieces of her backstory, and kind of like her story as it continues. So we are seeing kind of the effects of that, and we're also seeing lots of Misery and Lo, which is really great because I loved them, and of course Anna, and how different werewolf packs function. So her mate is this guy named Koen, I think is how you say it. That's how I'm gonna say it. But she doesn't really know if she has the same feelings, and he seems to be like trying his best not to acknowledge the whole mate thing for whatever reason. Maybe he doesn't think he deserves happiness, I don't know, but he's purposely like trying to push her away to make it seem like he doesn't care, but he's actually obviously really cares about her. Like, that's his mate. And so we are just following along Serena as she's basically just, I can't even really say what she's doing because it's a massive spoiler to the entire story, but when you realize what's happening and what her story is about, I was not emotionally prepared. I'm still not emotionally prepared. And so this one, we're gonna see where it goes. We're gonna see where it goes. I am hopeful, but we'll see. I really just, there's just so much that I'm just like, oh my goodness, like how, why, this is not what I signed up for. But like, this is in a good way. I'm not saying like, oh my goodness, this is so bad. This is good, and it's making me emotional, and I'm just like, ah! So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. We've kind of been reminded about who these characters are, what the stakes are like, and kind of now where Serena is more involved with her mate's pack and what that kind of looks like with these various other characters. So I'm excited to explore more of their friendship and then eventually, hopefully, relationship, and see where that goes and what it's like for Serena being a half-were and what that means for Anna's story as well. So we will see. I'm going to continue to read this book, and I will update you around the halfway mark, so I will see you then. All right, so I am now more than halfway through Mate, and the yearning for each other, oh my goodness, it just like a hug scene made me go like, and like, it's just so good. This is the type, like, I love when two characters just like, they want each other so badly, but there's some kind of like maybe forbidden aspect of it and they can't, and the closest thing they can get is a hug, and a hug makes me feral. Like, you know it's good when a hug is making me feral. So good, so good, so delicious too. There's a lot of deliciousness in this book, and just like, there's so much heart and emotion, and it's just kind of funny too. I think a part of the book that I'm not the biggest fan of is definitely some of the bit more like modern day references to like the cha-cha slide, and there was other stuff as well, but that's the first one I could think of. But stuff like that, I've never been a fan of in books because I feel like it just really ages them and doesn't make them really as relevant in a couple of years. I don't even know if like my younger siblings know what the cha-cha slide is. Like, I remember the cha-cha slide, but I'm like, what if someone 30 years wants to read this? They'll have no idea what that reference is about, and it just feels like it won't have the longevity that it should. And that's personally just a pet peeve of mine, but like, you know, it's not a big problem. It's not a big deal. It's just something that bugs me. But in terms of the story, I love it. Serena's character, she's so nice, and she's selfless, and I love that she's a great cook as well, and she loves to host people. And then we also have Koen's character, who really is the definition of like the authoritative alpha man, not like the gross toxic, like, oh, I'm an alpha, like blah blah blah, but like actually he's like he's an alpha wolf. He's an alpha werewolf, and it's so good. I think I personally would hate a person like him in real life, but in fiction, it's delicious. It is fabulous. I would never want a man to like, you know, be like, no, you have to do this. But like when it's an alpha wolf werewolf vibe, it's like, please tell me what to do with my life. Please tell me what you need me to do. And so yeah, definitely still enjoying the book. I like how the story is pacing as well. I love the build up and like I mentioned, the yearning between Serena and Koen. Absolutely wonderful. The book is of course funny, and it's following a lot of plot and going in a direction that I'm like, curious about where that's going to go. And I think it seems to be setting up for more books in the series, so that makes me really excited. So I don't know what these last like couple hundred pages will entail. Maybe it'll be like when I was reading House in the Cerulean Sea and I was like, oh, like, I don't think the book's going to be over, but then it was. And so like, if that's the case, maybe this is the final book. But I feel like there's more. It seems like there's a lot of like history that's being built up in this world, like there was in Bride, and it's really being just like fleshed out even further in Mate. So I really hope there's more, because I really love this like fantasy world mixed with modern stuff that she has come up with. So I'm going to continue to read Mate, and I will update you when I finish this book. So I will see you then with my final thoughts. last night I finished Mate, and this book, I obviously really enjoyed this one, but I do think that Bride is better. I think I like the dynamic between the two characters in Bride a little bit more, and I loved how just like story based it was, but this one by no means is bad. I loved the yearning between these two characters. Like, it was absolutely delicious. Like, I was freaking out over a hug. It was so good. It was so good. And they just like, they were such good kind of like the chemistry between these two characters was also really good. And like, they obviously both really wanted each other, but there was like reasons that they couldn't. And it was, I love that kind of stuff. I love that it's just like, I think some of the modern day references kind of like skewed how I feel about this book a little bit. I think Bride did have that as well, but I just don't remember as clearly. But it just felt like there was a bit too much of that in this book in particular. And I was like, okay, and like I'm not into nodding. And I just felt like there was a lot of nodding scenes in here, which if you love that, you will probably really like this, because in Bride, there's maybe 1 or 2 scenes if I remember correctly, but in this one you get plenty. So if that's your thing, I think you'll really, really like it. But because it's not really my thing, it's more just like, okay, like still good though. I think something that I just loved so much that Ali Hazelwood has done with Bride and with Mate is that at the beginning of every chapter, you have the male lead's basically thoughts. And then you're following along the female lead in her POV. And I just think the way she does it is so, so good, because it's like, you just get a little snippet of him and how much he just like is like, oh my goodness, this is my mate. And then you're just seeing her perspective and him like pushing her away and stuff. And it's like, I love it. I think that's just such a great touch. And it's something I really, really loved about this book. Like, it's just so, so beautifully written. Like, okay, on chapter 16, there's like this little blurb and it's like, he told her that he would never touch her because he didn't want her enough. In truth, he will never touch her because he wants her too much. The make-believe, he thinks, was kinder to both of them. And then it goes on to having kind of her point of view in her chapters and stuff throughout the book. And it's all like that. And I absolutely am so obsessed with that. And it's just so good. And like, it's such a cool way to balance 2 different POVs without actually focusing on 2, if that makes sense. Because you only get his POV in these little snippets and in the epilogue. But for her, you have it the entire book, minus, you know, the parts I just mentioned. And I just thought that was such like a cool way to do something like that. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that, to be honest. Like, sometimes at the beginning of chapters, you'll have cool little quotes and stuff. Love that. That's always fun too. And sometimes chapters have names. Like, there's just so many cool things that I love that authors do in their own kind of creative flair. And it's one of my favorite things that Ali Hazelwood has done for these books in this series. I do predict that there will be another book in this series. Who it will be about, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But there's just so much more story, especially like with Anna, that I think we still want more of. That, how is the story going to go? Like, what is it going to progress to? And like, all of that. So I think there is going to be more. I don't know what it will be like though. Maybe it will go back to like Misery and Low, perhaps, for the next book, or maybe we'll be introduced to completely new characters, or maybe it will be like a mix of different characters. Like, there's so many different pack members in like the werewolf kind of like areas, so that could be interesting. But I certainly don't believe that this is the final book. There's just so much more that I know she is kind of hinting at, so I'm really excited to see where it's going to go, and I'm really happy that this book is finally out. And the werewolves, I just really loved just a book about werewolves, you know, like you just get werewolves and how they're not human, and they emphasize that a lot. Like, we are not human. We don't behave the same way that humans do. We don't have the same kind of perspective that humans do, and scent is so important to them. And I thought that was a really cool thing to follow with these characters and their relationships. And also just like the whole like pack hierarchy and how that works and how that kind of affects this, and what a mate is like in this kind of like situation. And that was really fun as well. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed this book. So today we are going to be awarding Mate a total of 4 stars. Definitely definitely something that you should be adding to your TBR. At the beginning, I was like, you know, like, is this one of those like series that it doesn't matter if you read in order? The answer is you need to read it in order, because this one, it would make no sense if you didn't read Bride first. And you get so many spoilers. Like, you don't want spoilers, so like make sure you read Bride first and then read Mate. And get ready just for some really great yearning. Like the desperate way that they both want each other so much, but they can't have each other. Like, so amazing. And of course, Ellie Hazelwood continues to be an incredible writer. Her writing is always very strong. It's very vivid. Her character is always so much fun. The only thing that, this is just like a pet peeve of mine, was just a bit too many modern day references. Some people like that, so if you like that, that probably won't bug you. It's just something that's always bugged me about books, because I find that it ruins the like longevity of them, because you won't really know what the references are if you were to pick up this book in like 30 years or something. And so that's something that I think about, but I feel like it's like such a small thing, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's pretty much where we've concluded with Mate. Had a good time. Looking forward to her next announcement of when the third one will exist, because there's no way there's not a third one. And I know it's going to come out pretty soon too, because she's released like 5 books this year, and they've all been pretty good. Like, her writing, you can really see just in every single book, she's always been a good writer, and she just continues to get better and better and better and better. And I just think that that's so wonderful. So yeah, that's Mate. So the next book that I'll be reading is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. If you saw my video about Play Nice, which is this book here, then you are probably familiar with me going, oh my goodness, who is this author? She's incredible. I'm obsessed with Play Nice. That was such a good book. That was such an easy 5 stars to give that I found out she has written a vampire book as well. And I'm like, obviously I need to read that. So that's what I'll be reading next. So if you're interested in watching me read So Thirsty, or really any book that happens to be on my never ending TBR, or really anything about books, book community, book drama, stuff happening in the book world, I cover all of that and more on this channel. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I'm going to wish you warm wishes and fish kisses, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!